H here with Randy Pan, and we are getting ready to get this party started. The 2011 WFTDA Championships live from Denver, Colorado, being hosted by, the Denver Roller Dolls.
Absolutely. We have an incredible, exciting tournament for you this weekend. We're going to start off really high here at Double H. I'm really excited about this first off. First off, we're going to see Charm City Roller Girls take on Minnesota. I think this is going to be a really tight bout. I think it's going to go down to the end. Last year they played each other, and Charm City came out way ahead, but I think we're going to see something different this year.
That's right. Both of these teams had really big showings coming into the postseason at the playoffs. Charm City, of course, coming in number 3 in the East. Minnesota coming in number 2, giving Chicago a run for their money in the championship bout at the playoffs in Indianapolis in October, Randy Pan.
Chicago, who has given Charm City a hard time this year as well. So we see by triangulation, they're going to be really, really close. Now, Charm City, a very experienced team, a very aggressive team. They have a really deep bench of skaters who skated together for a long time. So they have a lot of experience and a lot of championship level play coming into this.
That's right. Charm City has a pretty veteran-based roster. We know what to expect for them. However, they have been very penalty heavy, especially in the postseason. Minnesota, however, has made a very strong showing the last 2 years. They were here, as you mentioned, they were here in the championships last year at Uproar in Chicago. They had a great run this season, taking on a number of higher-ranked teams like Naptown, Windy City, Philly. So they've put a big showing in against Philly, losing only just by 17 points, Randy Pan, this summer. So Minnesota, I think we're going to see really good things out of them.
Let's talk about Minnesota really quick. They're going to be out there in the Aqua and Marine. We have 00 Naughty Kitty, 109 Psychonovia, 13 Medusa, 1837 Diamond Rough, 8187 Lexicutor, 23 Jack Voss, 28 Scarman Electro, 55 Venus the Right Trap, 69 Voodoo Prodigy, 727 Herdjustein, 75 Harmony Curler Bruise, and 9 Secondhand Smoke.
Nice work, Charm City in gold and black. 100, Rosie the Rioter. 101, Cruella DeVille. 116, Reckless Endangerment. 12, Thoroughbled. 16-18, I Am Pain. 26, Just Carol. 34, Lady Kaboom. 36, Terrorize Her. 415, Holly Go Hardly. 6, Dolly Rocket. 63, Holden Grudges. 747, Joy Collision. 91, Loretta Scars. And 9mm CC Bang Bang, Randy Pan.
And we're getting started right on the line here. If you want to talk to us, you can talk to WFTDA, hashtag talk to WFTDA on your Twitter. So 187, Lexicutor is jamming for Minnesota. She's off on the line, caught behind a wall of Charm City.
Coming up against Cruella DeVille for Charm City. She's been extremely effective for them, Randy Pan, in the playoffs.
Absolutely. We see her a lot, and it looks like Lexicutor made her way through the inside. She's going to be her lead jammer, but followed hot on her heels
by Cruella DeVille, and this is the kind of fast-paced play I'm expecting to see from Minnesota. Charm, a very physical team, not quite as fast as Minnesota, though, Randy Pan.
Lexicutor going to call it right as they hit the pack, not going to take the chance. We're going to go 0-0 into this first round as they go back up to the Dr. Hauschka line.
That's right, the Dr. Hauschka's Jammer line. WFTDA celebrating Dr. Hauschka in the fresh faces of the WFTDA. Stop by their booth if you're here or if you're planning to come, or if not, check out WFTDA's awesome stuff on drhauschka.com.
Now, if you look directly into Medusa, if you look her into the eyes, you will turn to stone, but she is still an incredibly effective jammer. Number 13 for Minnesota.
Number 16-18, I Am Pain for Charm City.
Again, 2 defensive 4 walls forming up, both jammers caught behind them, so no offense happening right now. It's who breaks out first.
Both of these squads mixing it up, and that looks like that's Dolly Rocket headed to the penalty box. This is only the second jam, not a good sign. I Am Pain, major forearm. Huge opportunity here for Minnesota, Randy Pan.
Wow, we have only 2 blockers for Charm City out there. We have a 4-2 blocker advantage, and that is already 5 points on the board for Minnesota as they come up to another scoring pass, which probably will result in another 5.
Minnesota done a good job of mimicking that walled style. At the East region, this was something that was utilized a lot. So Charm City knows how to do it. That's a grand slam for Minnesota, Randy Pan. Charm City knows how to do it, but Minnesota has a full complement of blockers right now.
Well, one of the big things we talk about with both these teams is going to be penalties, and we're already seeing it in effect. 15 points right now for Minnesota, 3 Grand Slam passes because of the penalties right in the second jam here. Looks like we have one Charm City back.
Minnesota throwing points on that board. That's another Grand Slam.
20 points for Medusa so far this jam with over 30 seconds left. And she's already on the pack on the last line of defense there. Charm City, that is Rosie the Rider who forced her out and back into the back. But number 12, Thoroughbled's going to a penalty now. Oh, my goodness, Double H.
I Am Pain back in action, makes it through for her initial pass. Meanwhile, Medusa scoring those points. I bet she's going to call it off, and she does.
She calls it. She does get the 5 points from that. So that is a 25-point jam for Minnesota. 25-0, all for Medusa right now. That, it just takes a kind of thinking outside the lines. And if you like to think outside the lines, check out Spenland Media.
I do love to think outside the lines, and that is Spenland. They've done such a great job with the WFTDA website. And that looks like CC Bang Bang on the jammer line for Charm City.
And that's Harmony Killebrews, number 75 in the Aqua and Army for Minnesota.
Both of these skaters, not the usual statement that each of these teams wants to make. Minnesota coming out really strong, Randy Pan, in the first couple of jams. They are sending a message. Charm City has yet to put any points on the board. One of the reasons, as we expected, Charm City possibly very, very penalty heavy in this bout.
Well, and that's the big thing. I think Charm City's experience is going to do a lot for them, but they need to stay on the track. Minnesota has come so far. They've had such a huge trajectory over the last year, and they're going to keep pushing it. Minnesota had penalty troubles in the North Central regionals, but if they got that under control, they are going to make this very, very hard for Charm City.
That's right, and Medusa doing a great job of explaining and showing how really easy it is to put those points on the board for a jammer in this game, in the game of roller derby. You often hear it's anybody's game, but really a 25-point jam at the championship level is absolutely doable.
In the second jam as well, it was right off the bat. Now, this is official timeout. We're going to check into exactly why, but the thing that's working out for Charm City right now is they get to hit the reset button. They get kind of a free timeout to really address this. We're going to check in with the official timeout now.
That's right. We're going to take a second to also thank Spenland Media, Outside the Lines, a new kind of T-shirt at the Spenland booth here. Go ahead, Randy Pan.
Okay, so the challenge was issued on that fifth point that was picked up on that last pass. Now, it was an out of play, and so that point was picked up when when Medusa hit the track, and that was before the Charm City Jammer came back into play. So it's good.
All right, we have Harmony Killebrews jamming for Minnesota coming up against, again, I Am Pain, who is through first but not lead jammer for Charm City.
Well, I Am Pain handed off the star, past the star to Holly Go Hardly. I think it was to get past that line there.
And I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it was, and I think what that did was, now you're not eligible for lead jammer if you get that.
That's absolutely correct. You are not eligible.
So it made Minnesota have to get lead jammer and call it off.
That's right. Back on the line for Charm City, CC Bang Bang. Again, not someone we would expected to have. Lexicutor up for Minnesota.
She started off the first jam. There was 0 on that one. We'll see what happens here. Looks like a nice screen to the inside, opening up a lane on the outside for Harmony Killebrews, who gets lead jammer. But we have another handoff again to number 6. This time it was to Dolly Rocket, forcing the call off.
That's right. And that was Lexicutor, who called off that jam right quick. And on the jammer line for Charm City, someone we're used to seeing a little bit more, jamming Corella DeVille.
And that's number 9, Secondhand Smoke. Now, number 9, Secondhand Smoke was expelled from the tournament in the North Central, so she is really focused, wanting to come back and make a showing for her team here.
That's right. Charm City, no stranger to expulsions themselves in the playoffs.
Double H, we saw another attempted jammer handoff, but it was not successful. So Secondhand Smoke was able to get through lead jammer right away.
You got to believe if it's not working out for you, you have to switch up that strategy, Randy Pan.
Well, it was a good idea, and it does look like, that's Holly Go Hardly got her initial pass. She's going to be wearing the jammer panty right now. Secondhand Smoke calls off the jam, takes 4 points.
So that strategy not working out as effectively as Charm City would like, and yet they are trying it again. And maybe one of the ways that we can tell that they're going to try it again is because they put someone on the jammer line who is not the usual jammer. However, on the jammer line now for Charm, one of the usual suspects, number 26, Jess Carroll.
And that's number 75, Harmony Killebrews up for Minnesota. Well, one thing is working is it is stopping the back wall tactic, so it may force Minnesota to have to change up, because if they keep going like that, they might be going 0-0 for a while. 2 walls again. We're back to this. Jess Carroll trying to muscle her way out the outside there, as is Harmony Killebrews. Both got nice hit to the inside on Harmony Killebrews, forcing her to the back. It looks like Jess Carroll wrestling her way around. Harmony Killebrews back to the back. She did get lead jammer. She did get out front, but was recycled back in while she was lead jammer.
And as effective or not effective as that strategy has been for Charm to pass the star, you have to have your defense, keep Minnesota's jammers at bay, and that has not been working for them.
All right, once again, a very familiar jammer for Charm City. That is I Am Pain up at the line in black and yellow. And Aqua and Army is A18. Jukebox up in the line for Minnesota. Minnesota taking the knee and the back wall.
And that is the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line that both of these teams are trying to squish their jammers behind them.
And I can't tell, but I think those are Atom wheels that they're skating on, too. I'm pretty sure, because they are the official wheel of the WFTDA. And I Am Pain muscles her way through, gets through that defensive wall, takes lead jam.
I'm pretty sure this is the first lead jam for Charm City. This is a big opportunity for them. They're going to be looking to put some points on the board. Right now, the score 29 Minnesota, nothing Charm City.
Well, you got a nice defensive wall of 3 in the back there of Minnesota waiting for I Am Pain. And it looks like a nice offensive hit. Opened up the inside for Jukebox. We got to juke her way. I Am Pain does make a scoring pass, muscles past that 3 wall, takes 5 points. She, passed Jukebox before Jukebox was able to make it out. And
Baynana is cheering on the Charm City sideline for those 5 points, Randy Pan.
Yeah, there were Atom wheels out there, and they were on Rydell skates, as it turns out. So we got the official word on that.
Exactly.
Atom wheels on. Okay, so now the last couple times we saw CC Bang Bang 9mm out there, she handed off the star in a star pass. We'll see if she does that again. Secondhand smoke up for Minnesota.
It looks like she's doing a good amount of her own blocking, CC. But she looks like she is trying to unzip that line, that blue, that Aqua and Army. However,
nice inside line. She was hit to the inside, but she was able to avoid going out of bounds. Secondhand smoke is lead jammer. CC Bang Bang made it past that defensive wall. She is about a half track lap.
I'm impressed by this North Central team putting that strategy, that walled strategy together so well. They've been fairly effective in keeping Charm behind them. Charm, I know, has worked this walled strategy off the line.
Looks like, CC Bang Bang got in time for 1 point, but looks like Secondhand Smoke got up all 4 before the jam was called.
All right. WFTDA would like to thank Elemental Technologies. Elemental, the world's most powerful video processing solutions, and they are helping us today, Randy Pan, broadcast live from Denver, Colorado on WFTDA.com.
Corolla DeVille up at the line, 101 for Charm City, and number 75, Harmony Killebrews up for Minnesota. Minnesota doing great keeping their skaters on the track, by the way. They've been 4 deep almost the whole time.
They absolutely have that back wall, doing a great job against Cruella. However, their jammer is through for lead status, 75, Harmony Killebrews.
Harmony Killebrews made it out. She had a little, look like a low block, tripped her up at the end there, but she was already through. And Corolla DeVille about a quarter track behind there. It looks like Charm City got good position up in the front to protect the points, but Harmony Killebrews with a quick juke gets in front of the 2, picks up the 2 penalty box points for a 4-point scoring pass. They're amazing.
And that looks like a timeout, Charm City. If I were Charm City, I would be taking a timeout right now, too. We have 38 points for Minnesota's Charm City's, Charm City 6, Randy Pan. And this is definitely something they're going to want to sit down and talk about it. And we're going to talk about some people who made this wonderful broadcast possible right now.
Yes, we are. We're going to talk about incredible freedom. And I love incredible freedom, and almost as much as incredible comfort. And very few things give me both of those, Double H. but Protect Dent Mouthguard gives me both of those, and I just really appreciate that from them.
You know what? Talk is cheap, Randy Pan. Talk is cheap. That's why you need to take it to the track. TICSkateGear.com is the place to go to take it to the track.
TIC, talk is cheap.
WFTDA would also very much like to thank Herbalife. Herbalife is here in the house, but you can check them out on Herbalife.com for a free nutrition profile.
Oh, they make me feel so good.
Oh, that's great.
Up at the line, we have 187 Lexicutor. Up at the Dr. Hauschka line, that is, very specifically the Dr. Hauschka line.
And next to her, 1618 I Am Pain. Someone who's been fairly prolific through the playoffs in terms of scoring points for her team right now. She has scored 5 of the 6, I believe, of Charm City's.
So we have a 4-3 pack advantage for Minnesota, and Minnesota are taking advantage again. Huge defensive four wall in the back. They've been playing that consistently, and it's been working out well for them, I got to say.
And that looked like a direction major.
That was good call.
Yes.
It looks like Dolly Rocket trying to stop up.
Meanwhile, I Am Pain lead jammer was able to skate on through with that major call for Minnesota, Randy Pan.
Nice defense on the part of Charm City, especially at a deficit. I Am Pain already engaged in the pack around the outside, and look at Charm City split open the four wall. I Am Pain does get a scoring pass.
And they split open the four wall, not even with a full deck of cards. That is another 5 points for I Am Pain. Right now, she has plenty of room in front of her. With Minnesota's jammer behind her, she can grab a couple more points here, Randy Pan, before calling it off, I'm guessing.
That's an initial pass there for Lexicutor, so it looks like Minnesota going up front, trying to protect the points, make it hard for I Am Pain to score. And she's got an eye on Lexicutor, it looks like, but she's going to go for it. She did pick up 2 points, but 3 points were picked up by Minnesota. She passed one opposing blocker, picked up the 2 penalty box points, so that worked out better for Minnesota in that last pass.
Charm City's got definitely a tough road to hoe here, Randy Pan. Minnesota's blocking right off the line has been absolutely fantastic. This four wall has morphed into just every which way. Each one of these skaters breaking out of that four wall and reforming just as quickly. So impressed with Minnesota.
And they're at it again. 4-2 pack advantage. 3-2 pack advantage. We got to say it. Penalties, Charm. They got to get on that. Jukebox back in the mix there. CC Bang Bang navigating that back wall there. And in the meantime, there she goes. That is Medusa making it through lead jammer.
That's right. Great work by Minnesota, again getting their jammer through for lead jammer status. CC not passing the star, stuck behind a wall of Aqua and Army. They are doing a great job of blocking her out of bounds and recycling her, Randy Pan.
Medusa got caught behind Joy Collision and Holding Grudges. Holding Grudges is holding the line, getting a little offensive help, but the offensive jumps back to get that 20-foot push there. 5 more points for Medusa.
Medusa, the high point scorer for Minnesota right now. And that looks like secondhand smoke going to the penalty box for Minnesota.
It looks like an attempted offensive block that they got missed. CC Bang Bang is still held up against that four wall. Only 2 up front. 727, Gertrude Stein going in for some offense, but that offense opened up an inside lane for CC Bang Bang to make a pass, or initial pass. In the meantime, 5 more points for Medusa.
Joy Collision and Thoroughbled doing their best in that jam to play defense. Meanwhile, their jammer stuck behind, leaving her to duke it out for herself. In many ways, that can be an effective strategy, but CC Bang Bang has not been that strong of a jammer in the playoffs. Maybe she wasn't the jammer to do that, Randy Pan.
Well, I do recommend for all the jammers out there, Derby Skins, that Shiny Heiny will give you a more aerodynamic cruise through to slip through some of those lanes. So Derby Skins might be the answer. I Am Pain up in the line for Charm City.
Coming up against Harmony Killabrews for Minnesota.
Oh, it looks like we're reversing. It looks like Charm City are trying to take the back wall, open up an outside lane for I Am Pain. I Am Pain gets up front to the last line of defense, pushes 20 feet. A lead jammer. Again, I Am Pain, I think the only one who's been picking up lead jammer for Charm City.
Absolutely correct, Randy Pan. Meanwhile, one of their secret weapons, Jess Carroll, has not been utilized very heavily in this game so far, Randy Pan.
There's a tie up there, so they got Harmony Killabrews out for her initial pass. But we do have I Am Pain almost out again to the inside, gets the 4 points, waiting to call it. I think she wants to kill some time for her blocker to come back in, which is good because they need their blockers out there.
Meanwhile, Rosie the Rioter headed to the penalty box at the end of that one. And yes, penalties are killing Charm City right now. Minnesota 50, Charm City 17. I don't know if you played the bracket game at all, Randy Pan, but this could be a bracket buster right away.
Well, I think anybody who didn't come into this bout thinking that it was going to be a tight one was fooling themselves. Definitely didn't even expect this big of a deficit. I know Charm City's going to need to change something up. We have Cruella de Vil up at the Dr. Hauschka jammer line for them, and Lexicutor, number 187, up for...
Cruella all the way on the outside to become lead jammer for Charm City. Great work in that short pack time.
Yeah, she saw the outside lane, and it looks like they pinned something open for her. She's already back in the mix. Wow. We have 2 penalties going out there, and I'm trying to call the penalties for you, ladies and gentlemen, just not catching them. And Lexicutor finally makes it out her initial pass. But Cruella de Vil already on a scoring pass, almost 20 feet out. She calls it off, takes 5 points. Nickel and diming their way back. This is what Charm City needs to do, and they're doing it with a lot of control. I like seeing that.
And they have plenty of time, and I think you just hit the nail on the head, Randy Pan. Control is going to be super important from here on out. With under 14:30 on the clock, again, Minnesota 50, Charm City 22.
Well, they need that control because they want to be the WFDA MVP, and they want that because Union Vacations is going to provide them with a 1-week getaway to Mexico. So that's where that control is coming from, I really think, is the Union Vacations MVP package.
Off the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line, secondhand smoke coming up against one more time. There she is. I Am Pain for Charm City, lead jammer.
Both skaters went around the outside. I Am Pain had a lane open for her, but secondhand smoke was able to ride her wake. She's trying to get her to force her to call off. She does. Still a pack advantage for Minnesota there, Double H.
Secondhand smoke bringing the heat. Excellent job offensively by Minnesota. Great work by both these squads so far, mixing it up. I'm not seeing Just Carol come out on the jammer line a lot for Charm City. She's an extremely effective jammer. I'm wondering why, if they're going to choose to use her as a secret weapon or not.
We'll definitely expect to see her soon, maybe in the second period. I don't know. I'd like to get the insight on that, and we will investigate that for you. Cruella de Vil up at the Dr. Hauschka line trying to navigate the outside. Enjoy Collision all on Harmony Killebrews by herself. The 20 feet gets pushed. It worked despite a blocker deficit. Cruella de Vil is lead jammer.
Great blocker work by Charm City right there. She just sailed right through Cruella de Vil to become lead jammer for Charm. Meanwhile, coming up against a 3-wall, tries to jump the apex. Doesn't quite make it and tries to call it.
Looks like we have a referee takedown there. Conan the Vegetarian, but that's going to be... Looking at, no, we did get all 4 points on that pass there. That apex jump worked. She did not engage an opponent in the air. She landed all right, 4 points.
And landed in bounds. The apex jump.
This is what I'm saying about Charm City's depth of bench and experience. Even though they've been out there at a deficit, even though they've been out there having a problem with penalties, they still have the skaters who are able to execute on the track, and they're bringing it back a little bit. 24-point lead, Minnesota. We're going into a team timeout for Minnesota.
Team timeout for Minnesota means we have time to thank some of our awesome sponsors. Derbyology.com, purveyors of the Derby Unusual. We're not crazy. We just play Derby.
It's a fine line. Nice, beautiful hit out. That was number 100, Rosie the Rioter, forcing her out at the end on the replay action there.
The beautiful instant replay. WFTDA would also like to thank Fast Girl Skates. Fast Girl Skates is the industry pioneer in boot sizing and configuration for women's feet. We would also like to thank Flat Track Revolution. Flat Track Revolution, wear your passion. Go to flattrackrevolution.com.
Number 187, Lexicutor up in the Aqua and Army for Minnesota on the Dr. Hauschka jammer line.
I Am Pain, who's responsible for 16 of the 26 Charm City points right now on the board, is again jamming for Charm.
Well, she's also responsible for a lot of their lead jams, and I think all but one, if my stats are correct there. So definitely we're going to see her on the Dr. Hauschka jammer line quite a bit. No surprise, Minnesota in the back wall taking a knee. They've got 3 out there. We'll see if they can execute as well with 3 as they have been with 4.
Yes, I am paying knocks Lexicutor out of bounds right away, doing a great job defensively herself. Meanwhile, hoping her teammates could open up this wall a little bit, burning the clock to make sure they get blockers out of the box, Randy Pan.
It looks like, yes, Lexicutor does get all the way front and gets past Holly Go Hardly there to get Lee Jammer, but a nice opening from 116 Reckless Endangerment gets I Am Pain out about a third of a lap behind.
And we have a full house from Charm City. Dolly Rocket back on the track. Let's see what I Am Pain can do with a full complement of blockers.
She just hits it, saw the wall. She was like, heck with it. Nah, I'm just going to call it. I'm okay with that call off because, they have a decent lead and they can get away with that.
All right, Cruella DeVille coming back to the jammer line against Medusa. Medusa extremely prolific here. 35 of Minnesota's 50 points right now she's showing. So huge point scorer for her team.
Well, we have a reversal of fortune now as far as penalties go. All 4 Charm City blockers are out there. Only 2 Minnesota blockers. And Charm City are already just breaking open that wall, trying to open it up. Nonetheless, Medusa sneaks through the inside, takes lead jammer. Incredible.
Cruella makes it through for her initial pass. Let's see if she can bring the heat a little bit on Medusa.
You see 727 up there. Gertrude Stein trying to open up some offensive opportunities for her. Medusa up at the line. And it looks like there was a low block picked up in the back. 0-0 is going to be called on that one.
All right. We're looking at a score of Minnesota 50, Charm City 26, with just 10:30 left in this period. We are starting off this WFTDA 2011 championships with a lot of physicality, Randy Pan.
They're going aggressive, and you hear a lot of talk about the altitude. Definitely not seeing it yet. They're playing very aggressive, and I think that's a testimony to all the incredible training that goes into roller derby here. I Am Pain on the Dr. Hauschka line, going up against, we're back to a 3-wall there for Minnesota.
And that is Harmony Killebrews making her way up past the Charm City 2-wall to become lead jammer for Minnesota.
She goes outside into the inside, gets past Rosie the Rioter for that lead jam status, and that wall is still holding up. We have a fall there, and an outside opening line for I Am Pain. She gets our initial pass. No points yet.
Minnesota outstanding with these walls, and they have managed to keep most of them intact. Meanwhile, Charm City sending skaters to the box every jam, and that looked like 4 points. Rosie the Rioter going to the box at the end of that jam for Charm.
So we have just less than 10 minutes left of just the first period. Dolly Rocket and Jukebox both have 3 trips to the box, so they're already kind of pushing it a little bit on the penalties for where they want to be. Jukebox up to the jammer line, the Dr. Hauschka jammer line. She's taking on Cruella DeVille for Charm City.
That must not scare Minnesota too much for them to put her on the jammer line right now.
They're going to push it a little bit. They're willing to push it.
And well, they should. Minnesota's 4-wall doing a great job. They are keeping her where she needs to be to get through. However, she's getting called on a back block major. It is now a power jam.
And not a moment too soon for Charm City. But right now, Joy Collision, the only blocker out there for Charm City. Now, if you're going to have one blocker, that's a good one. She's trying to slow the roll and try to get a scoring opportunity. Oh, reinforcements, Double H.
Meanwhile, Jess Carroll and Holly Go Hardly get back on the track for Charm. Like you said, bringing the reinforcements, this 3-wall up at the front. Corella's trying to get past. She does, and that is 5 points. Could this be the jam, Randy Pan, that Charm City comes back to close this gap?
It could be, but there's still a full wall out there. Nice 3-wall in front there. Forcing down Cruella DeVille in turn 2 there. Nice offensive movement from Holly Go Hardly.
And it looked like they were trying to do some runting at the back. I'm not entirely sure why they weren't helping their jammer, but she did get through.
Nice. Just a second of an opening. That wall opened up for just a second. That was all Cruella needed. And it looks like we have standing back up. Jukebox is almost ready to come back into play. So she is standing. We have less than 10 seconds for her. Meanwhile, Cruella DeVille just keeps going through. And that was the initial pass there for Jukebox.
And that
3
looks
more
like-
points.
Yep, 3 more points for Charm City. Again, I'm not sure entirely why Charm City is spending the majority of their time at the rear of the pack when they were in a power jam situation. However, Secondhand Smoke coming up against I Am Pain, Randy Pan, on the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line.
I just want to check out, if you're enjoying this HQ feed but you're having troubles with it, check out the FAQ on WFTDA.com. We want to make sure you're seeing this as clear as we are. Sneaking around the inside line, Secondhand Smoke, lead jammer for Minnesota. I Am Pain stuck in the back there, but nicely maneuvers around the outside.
Minnesota says not so fast, Charm City.
Gets up front. I think she gets past Naughty Kitty there. She is her initial pass, but Secondhand Smoke already in. Has 2 Charm City blockers to navigate there.
Great job by Minnesota doing a little bit of runting, keeping the pack behind them and getting that almost a no play call, out of play call, for Secondhand Smoke to get through so she can call it.
And there was a tumble there. I like that there was a no call on that tumble. It was a completely legal engagement, and I was really appreciating that from our wonderful, wonderful referees, who get their wonderful referee jerseys from Iron Doll Clothing, one of a kind uniforms for the modern roller girl and referee.
And that looks like Holly Go Hardly on the jammer line for Charm City.
All right, well, who's wearing the pivot cap? Who's wearing the pivot cap? That is Terrorizer. And some defensive jamming right away. It didn't last long because she gets forced out front into the lead jammer land. That is Harmony Killabrews.
Harmony Killabrews, very prolific. Meanwhile, Holly Go Hardly is like, hurry up, speed this pack up. With Harmony hitting the back of the pack.
Thoroughbred set up to do some defensive blocking, and then she just gets a penalty instead. Harmony gets the pack, but hits it quick enough, calls it off with 2 points, 2-0. Maintaining a nice but not outstanding lead, 22-point lead for Minnesota.
Right now, the name of the game for Minnesota is pack control, along with that 4-wall. That is exactly what they're doing with their skaters. They are creating the pack far enough back from their jammer to be able to get those out-of-play calls or almost get those out-of-play calls, and that is absolutely an effective strategy for them right now, Pan.
We got Lexi Cuter, who is a wide-open lane there out front. She gets lead jammer, but the jammer handoff, I thought we were going to see it last jam. We saw this one instead. It forces her to call it off, though.
Holding Grudges did not look happy about that at all. She was excited just to get through, Randy Pan. Again, Charm City working this strategy that hasn't been that successful for them so far.
It hasn't gotten them points, but it's definitely held off on points. You know, every time they've done it successfully, which I think all but once they haven't, they've held it 0-0. And remember, you know, they're coming out with a huge lead.
Speaking of huge lead, we have Medusa on the jammer line, and there's another star pass, or attempted star pass. It looks like we're without a jammer for Charm City right now, Randy Pan.
Well, they need to be able to pass that in play, and you need to put on the panty in play. So it looks like number 63, Holding Grudges, got it on, but she's caught. That's still her initial pass. Meanwhile, Medusa has made a 5-point Grand Slam pass with a huge blocker advantage.
That's right. It looks like Holding Grudges was actually holding that star and putting it on, which you absolutely can do.
Another 5-point pass. So I think what happened was an illegal pass because Joy Collision is sitting in the jammer penalty box. We have all 3 of them, but she's sitting in the jammer, so I think that might have been a legal handoff. Doesn't mean that Holding Grudges can't wear it. Another
5 points for Minnesota. Putting the screws to Charm City right now, 75-38.
Well, I was just saying that wasn't working against them, but has worked against them huge this time. Now, Holding Grudges got through. She was out front, but she didn't run for it. She went defensive on that.
And we're having it looks like we're going to take a timeout to talk about that. An official timeout right now, Randy Pan. And we are going to officially thank some of our sponsors, like Dr. Hauschka, the WFTDA's official bruise healer. Lose the bruise with Dr. Hauschka's Ouch Aid. WFTDA would also very much like to thank Bruise Boutique. Hey, love your skates. Use Season 15 to take 15% off bruiseboutique.com. And it looks like we might be out into this game again. Minnesota 80 points now on the board. Charm City 38 with just 3 minutes left in the first period. Charm City's penalties and strategy have been definitely killing them in this game. Minnesota really bringing the four wall, really trying to skate as clean as possible, and they've done such a good job of doing that. They've done such a good job with pack control and dictating where that pack is going to be and when it is going to be there, Randy Pan.
So just that official timeout was just to correct the clock to make sure that the clock time was the official time, and that was the right time we were going by. Everything is corrected. We're going to get back in on this.
Once again, we have Minnesota 80, Charm City 38, and it looks like Harmony Killebrews is going to be on that jammer line dancing solo right now, Randy Pan.
Well, Joy Collision, like I said, on the last one went in. I believe it was for an illegal handoff, so she has to serve the rest of her time. I don't know if any additional time was put on that, or she just needs to wait the rest of this out, or she needed to go in as a jammer, but she's sitting there now. Power Jam, Harmony Killebrews.
Meanwhile, Jess Carroll and Lady Kaboom up there at the front trying their best to help that three wall. Right now it looks like 4-on-3 pack advantage Minnesota. And that is also Holly Go Hardly that gets taken down.
And that was a beautiful offensive screen by Venus Thigh Trap to open up the inside line for Harmony Killebrews, giving her lead jammer. And Jess Carroll going to the penalty box. Oh, my goodness, 4-2. It looks like number 50, Venus Thigh Trap's going in. Joy Collision back out. Nice juke from Harmony Killebrews. Joy Collision on her initial pass right now, but just muscles through it. They don't even see her coming. So 5-point scoring pass.
Joy Collision breathing down her neck, trying to see if she can force the call. Let's see how many points Harmony can get before she calls it. Looks like 5. I'm sorry, that was 4.
4, and that's the correct amount. Beautiful juke around Holly Go Hardly to pick up that scoring pass. Oh, amazing. You know, Minnesota are just turning it up and up right now. They started off hot, but they're getting hotter, Double H.
They absolutely are. Speaking of hot, we have Lexi Cuter on the line against I Am Pain, and we have a whole second period to go after this, Randy Pan.
Oh, my goodness. Less than 2 minutes with possibly 1, maybe 2 more jams left in this period. I Am Pain up against that 4 wall. Lexi Cuter trying to jump to the inside, but I Am Pain doing a great job holding her off, actually.
It looks like she might have picked up a cut, though, Lexi Cuter. Let's see if that...
Oh, wow. Nice wide open lane there for I Am Pain. Gets her lead jammer. And they needed this. They need this to go into the halftime with, Double H.
They absolutely do. Both of these teams looking to send a final message in the last 2 jams. Charm City, of course, trying to use this to get as many points as they possibly can. Minnesota walling it up, doing a great job walling it up. They race to the front, trying not to be points, Randy Pan.
Now, Lexi Cuter was able to get past Thoroughbled there, and she's racing up to try to prevent the points. But I Am Pain with a beautiful, just muscles her own openings, takes 4 points. Lexi Cuter did pick up 1 at the last second there. We're going to start this jam off with a little less than 30 seconds. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last jam of this period before we have a whole another 30.
WFTDA would very much like to thank Derbyville for all things Derby, because that's how we roll. Shop in Denver or online, Randy Pan.
All right. And on the Dr. Hauschka line, Medusa up there, and it looks like Scarman Electra taking her 4th minor.
And that is Cruella DeVille jamming for Charm City, looking for a way through that 3-wall. Great job by Terrorizer trying to open that up.
Now, Medusa did get lead jammer, but she got forced out by Joy Collision, who's taking a penalty for it. Recycle back in, but she's out again. This is her initial pass for Medusa. No points yet.
Great job recycling by Minnesota here. Charm City just struggling to break up that 3-wall and that 4-wall in these jams, Randy Pan.
Wow, wide open lane there. We're at the end of the period now. This jam's going to go its natural conclusion, which was concluded by Medusa calling it off with a 4-0 pass, putting it at 94-42 Minnesota advantage, Double H.
Well, let's talk about this period for a second, Randy Pan. We are at a score of 94 Minnesota, Charm City 42. What does Charm City need to do to bring it back in the second period?
Well, first and second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth and seventh of all, stay on the track. Stay on the track, stay on the track, stay on the track. Their hits are they're overextending. They're just getting into too much trouble. They're going for those last line hits, and it's putting in the penalty box. Minnesota, beautiful, beautiful. We got some... we see the work of the pack. Now you see the example.
That looked like a major elbow at the end there from Holden Grudges. But what we're seeing, you're absolutely right. Charm City needs to really mitigate those penalties right now.
Yeah, and then Minnesota, I think just do what you're doing right now. So we're going to check in with some words from our lovely sponsors, and we'll check back in with you in just a moment.
Double H back with Randy Pan here. We are going into the second half of Minnesota Charm City. And what about this is?
It is bananas. It is bananas. It's not banana. It is just bananas. You were seeing
No, if it were bananas, then it would be Charm City on top, where clearly right now it is Minnesota 94, Charm City 42.
To Minnesota's 94, a 52-point lead now. We're two sides of this. One side we have Charm City. Charm City, they need to stay on the track. I mean, that's, I think, apparent to everybody out there.
You can't win if you're not on the track.
Utilizing the star pass off the line. Now, that was probably put into play to disrupt the 4 defensive wall. It usually yields a 0-0 because you're opening Minnesota to be lead jammer. They just get out and call it.
Which is what they've been doing.
But it hasn't caused them to stop doing the 4 defensive wall.
That's right.
The 4 defensive wall is keeping them on the track.
That's right.
And you can tell they practice it. They're executing it incredibly. So on one hand, Minnesota is utilizing their strategy with a lot of effect. On the other hand, Charm City, not as much.
This is not the Charm City that I saw in the playoffs either. As I mentioned before, Jess Carroll, number 26, not being utilized as a jammer by Charm City. I'm not entirely sure what strategy that is following through with. I know that they have been using CC Bang Bang to utilize that star pass strategy. That again, it's not going to work unless your defense can back it up and keep Minnesota's jammer behind you, which is what they have not been able to do. Minnesota, meanwhile, their 4 walls are absolutely gorgeous. This is textbook 4-wall strategy. They are fast with it. They are timely with it. They have been able to runt, or as some people would call it, goating, creating a goat in the back of the pack where you're taking your other team's blocker and creating the pack and basically forcing that out of play call for your jammer. They've done a fabulous job of that. And why would you change anything if it's working? Don't fix what's not broken. I'm going to see a lot of that, I think, from the second period from Minnesota.
Now, it's not that Charm City's skaters aren't capable of mustering a defense. Even when they've been down, they've been able to execute some incredible plays. They've been able to get Lee Jammer with a 2 blocker disadvantage, but it's just not enough right now. They need to fix that up. First of all, I'm wondering what Charm City went to the halftime with. What are they going to take back? Were they focusing on the penalties? Are they going to focus on the strategy? If they find a way to disrupt Minnesota's 4 wall, is Minnesota going to have a backup plan? Are they going to have another thing in their playbook if that gets upset by Charm City, especially if Charm City keep their skaters on the track?
Well, one of the things that they're going to have to work on is keeping Medusa at bay. Their defense is really going to have to work hard to keep her from being so prolific. Right now, Medusa showing 56 of the 94 points that Minnesota has right now. Harmony Killebrews, 20 of those points of her own. Secondhand Smoke, 12, and Lexicutor, 6. Meanwhile, looking at the Charm City scoreboard, Cruella DeVille on top for Charm City. It looks like 21 points for her, and I Am Pain. Both of them have done a great job putting points up, but it's just not enough. They're going to need defense, and they're going to need, I'm going to say, another weapon in their arsenal, and I'm really interested in seeing who that's going to be, Randy Pan. And right now we have I Am Pain on the jammer line coming up against Medusa. As I mentioned, Medusa extremely prolific for Minnesota.
I mean, all you need to know is in the stats, over 20 trips to the penalty box for Charm City, less than 10 for Minnesota. Now, I Am Pain almost made it around the outside, but the wall was able to get in the way. In the meantime, inside, Medusa takes lead jam. I Am Pain gets out, quarter lap behind.
And again, you're looking at that Minnesota wall at the front doing a really good job recycling Charm City skaters.
Huge inside lane there. Medusa just takes it, gets those points super quick, calls it off. And as you saw that 3-wall, you also saw a Charm City skater go into the penalty box.
This is not what Charm City wants to see. They are number 3 seed in the East. Again, Minnesota 2. We have Cruella DeVille coming up to the jammer line against Harmony Killebrews.
We got a 3-2 pack advantage for Minnesota. And nothing new here, ladies. You at home. 3-wall, get it started. Cruella DeVille trying to navigate her way through. Harmony Killebrews up against the 2-wall.
It looks like they burned enough time off the clock for Scarman Electra to come back into this ball game, Randy Pan.
She took her 4th intentional minor at the last period. She's back. And we had 2. Scarman Electra going already back. Now looks like, yes, Cruella DeVille was able to get out. She took a minor cut, not lead jammer, but she was able to get out. Harmony Killebrews does take lead jammer, calls it off, and more skaters went to the penalty box. This is a lot of math here, Double H.
Great defensive jamming there from Minnesota. Everything I've seen from Minnesota in this game has been smart, smart, smart. Right now, Minnesota 98, Charm City 42. They are putting IM Payne back on that jammer line, and that she is up against Lexicutor, Randy Pan.
Lexicutor, we have a diet pack here. 2 skaters from each team in the pack. Now, I feel like Charm City will have an advantage here. I feel like Charm City's skaters can go pound for pound. I'm wondering if we'll see that right here, Double H.
I don't know if IM Payne can get through that 2-wall, though. That's my only feeling. Minnesota's done such a good job. However, IM Payne gets her on the outside.
Wow.
Oh.
Jukebox trying to stop her. Slows her down, but not enough. IM Payne out front by 5 feet. Lexicutor's right behind her.
Meanwhile, I know IM Payne's going to want to try to get those 2 points if she can or more because of the box, and she throws her hips forward, does not get any. Meanwhile, Minnesota picking up 4. You cannot score points once you're out of bounds, and I think that IM Payne thought she was still in bounds when she threw her hips in front.
Well, she went for it, called it off the jam, and it was too late.
Now, if you are loving this game as much as we are, we want to hear from you on Twitter. Our hashtag is Talk2WFTDA. That's the number 2, Talk2WFTDA. The announcers, Randy Pan and I, will be reading those tweets, so tell us what you got.
Joy Collision in yellow and black. Charm City takes lead jam right away. And then right behind her, I believe that's Harmony Killebrews. Sorry, that was Medusa, a half a lap behind in Aqua and Army. Joy Collision just races through, navigates already that front wall.
Joy Collision making it through, calling it off, shows up for work for 4 points for Charm City.
It looks like Medusa was able to pass one opposing skater and picked up the penalty box point as well, 4-2.
Charm City's having a hard time controlling both ends of the pack. They're either at one end or the other, but they're not able to keep those opposing jammer points from scoring. They're not having an easy time with pack control right now, Randy Pan.
Cruella DeVille up in the line for Charm City. That's Harmony Killebrews up in the line for Minnesota.
And she is helping to be defensive while Cruella tries to make it through, gets knocked to the ground, and Harmony's through for lead jammer for Minnesota.
Lady Kaboom tried to hit her out, but that just gave her the momentum to get through. It looks like Cruella DeVille finally gets through on the inside. We have all the skaters on the track, ladies and gentlemen. Thank the Derby gods for that one. And already Harmony Killebrews navigating to the front, takes a spill on the inside for Thoroughblade, calls it off. It's going to be a 3-1 advantage Minnesota.
And I couldn't tell if that was an out-of-play major being called at the end. I'm thinking that it was for Thoroughblade. That's right.
Scarman Electra's going in, and yes, Thoroughblade going in as well. We're going to be 3-3 on this one.
All right, Charm City liked what they saw, so Joy Collision is back on that jammer line, coming up against Lexicutor.
Good call. I think Joy Collision can bring some fire to this team right now. She's a very feisty jammer, a very experienced one as well. We saw her playing a lot of defense, but now she's up against that 3-wall, Double H.
Joy Collision, a vet who could potentially knock some holes in this young Minnesota defense, and she does. She's through for lead jammer.
Looks like Lexicator trying to get in some offensive help now. Jukebox opening it up. An inside lane opens up, but she falls behind Dolly Rocket. In the meantime, just a wide open lane for Joy Collision to pick a 4-point scoring pass.
And I'm thinking Joy Collision is the secret weapon that Charm City has been waiting to deploy, and she has been doing a great job in this jam. She goes for the inside. They didn't even see her coming. 5-point pass for Joy Collision, Randy Pan.
Wide open lane, and Dolly Rocket has just been a thorn in Lexikitter's side there, staying in front of her. A little offensive help from Minnesota, still not able to get past. Joy Collision with another inside pass. Incredible Double H.
This is exactly what I knew Charm City was capable of, and I'm glad to see they did find a secret weapon that they could give Minnesota a run for their money. I did not think it would be Joy Collision.
Well, it's the pack work there. They're definitely opening up the wall now. We're seeing a lot more offense coming from Charm City, and offense that's keeping them on the track magically.
Joy Collision smiling. She's very happy to be putting up those points on the board for her team. And this
2 more points. Huge jam. The word Double H, the word is momentum. They needed some momentum. They needed it right now. And that was a huge jam for them.
That looked like a 21-point jam, I think, for Joy Collision. Those are the kinds of jams they're going to need to have from here on out if Charm City wants to come back from this in any capacity. Minnesota 107, Charm City 68. I Am Pain coming up against Medusa on the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line.
It is the jammer line because that's where the jammers start, by the way. So that is I Am Pain up against the front wall, and we have Medusa up against the back wall. And it's just navigation. She gets around. I Am Pain, lead jammer for Charm City.
And we have a little bit of a momentum shift as these vets come back from Charm City. Joy Collision really putting down for her team. Meanwhile, I Am Pain using that momentum to see how far she can get against Minnesota's defense. 2-all at the front for her, Randy Pan. She gets right through.
Gets through in the middle there, takes a 4 points, call it. Medusa made it out there, but 4-0, and the lead has been reduced to a 35-point lead for Minnesota.
And it looks like Charm City's already lining up on the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line, in front of it, in fact.
And they just line it up on the back. They're like, no, we don't want you. We got a team timeout called for Minnesota there. A good opportunity to thank some of the handful of people that we just love. Jules Doyle Photography, Roller Girls Skates, Gern Mernster Roller Sports, Green Monster Roller Sports, we love you guys. Derby for All, Derby Supply, Vanilla Skates, 5-on-5, Skate Corp, Wicked Skatewear, Blood and Thunder Magazine, Chase Sportswear, Hex Chromosome, and 5 Stride. All of you have contributed and made us what we are, so we thank you.
Oh, and we have a little bit of a replay from that last jam, and that looks like
Lexicutor getting handled. That was reckless endangerment in the back there. And Charm City taking the back line there, trying to throw a monkey wrench into Minnesota's plan. Croix DeVille up at the line, and that's Harmony Killebrews for Minnesota.
So we're 3-on-4. It looks like we're going to get the no pack call with 3 of those skaters standing and 4 of them taking a knee.
All right, that means we are ready to start, but the jam is not started yet.
Correct. That's what
5 seconds.
that whistle means.
Just so we're clear. Sometimes it's confusing with these tournaments whether or not the jam has actually started.
That's right. And that no pack right away, that's when you cannot be incurring penalties. Oh, that looked like a major elbow.
That was number 12, Thoroughblade. She's going to the penalty box. But meantime, Cruella DeVille is able to navigate the 4-wall all by herself. She gets it, lead jammer.
Meanwhile, Thoroughblade heading to the box. A full complement of Minnesota blockers awaits Cruella.
Cruella just goes ahead and calls it. She didn't get any of that. That was a 0-0. And, again, Charm City lost their blockers. They lost a huge opportunity there.
Cruella did not look happy about that at all.
We'll check in on the Dr. Hauschka line. Lexicutor's such a fan; she was laying down on it, and just appreciating all that Dr. Hauschka's done for us.
It's a good thing we double taked on that because we weren't sure if it was an injury or not. But no, she was just lying down. She was just tired maybe from altitude sickness, I'm thinking.
The Dr. Hauschka, everybody jam.
And that's Joy Collision bursting back into this jam as she has in the last 2 jams. However,
that is Jukebox.
That is... Yes, that is suddenly a power jam. Joy Collision, this jam is hers for the taking if she can get past that 2-wall in front of her, and she does, and she picks up lead jammer status and calls it right away for the reset, Randy Pan.
You see her going, shucks. I think she didn't realize it was a power jam, so she called it. We're going to get the update on what that penalty was.
You know what? I don't necessarily think that was the worst strategy, though, Randy Pan. I think she wanted to reset here. I'm just wondering. It looks like I Am Pain on the jammer line. So they did a reset here, Randy Pan.
So Lexicutor is in the penalty box. She initiated while in the air. I think she was going for an apex jump, but if you go for that, you hit an opponent. That's an instant minute in the box. I Am Pain trying to get through by herself. It looks like her Charm City sisters have opened up, got a little offense. She's got a 2-wall left. She gets through it, lead jammer.
Charm City finally walling up, creating a nice rent strategy, pulling that pack behind, so she got the out-of-play call, so I Am Pain could get through for lead jammer status.
They open up an outside lane there. She has 2 more. She has Voodoo Prodigy and Scarman Electra to get past in the front. Nice bridging work, but the out-of-play is called. Scarman Electra gave her a hit after the out-of-play was called. She's going to go to the penalty box for a minute. 5-point scoring pass for I Am Pain.
That was an out-of-play major. This is exactly what Charm City's been trying to execute, that Minnesota has been executing all day, which is that getting that out-of-play call by reforming the pack in the back with that run strategy.
It looks like Jukebox is back. She's still on her initial pass, I believe. But she makes it through. That's going to be no points for her. I Am Pain gets through. She should pick up. She got 4 for that. Calls off the jam.
All right. And we're looking at a score of Minnesota 107, Charm City 81. Charm City is suddenly back in this game, Randy Pan, thanks in no small part to Joy Collision.
Yeah, in no small part to not getting penalties either. You know, they're doing a great job. But they're also finding, I think they've unlocked the 4-wall because they've had, jammers have had an easier time getting through that 4-wall. So definitely that's been working for them well. They've turned their offense up.
Again, Cruella on the line up against Harmony Killabrews.
Cruella just pushing out front. Again, just opening up the 3-wall. Gets out front. Lead jammer. They're opening it up, Double H.
They're getting more physical, Randy Pan. They're more physical, and they're able. And this looks like a power jam. Harmony Killabrews, major back block, going to the penalty box. This is now a power jam for Cruella DeVille with 1:30 on that clock in this jam.
And Loretta Scars is holding up a blocker in the back, pushing 20 feet. 5-point grand slam pass for Cruella DeVille. Looks like Minnesota trying to wall up and back, but they spread out too far. Opened wide up for another 5-point grand slam for Cruella DeVille. This is the bout I was expecting, Double H.
Absolutely. A physical contest. Charm City figuring some stuff out, mixing it up with Joy Collision from jam to jam. Meanwhile, getting some defense in place.
Nice.
Charm City walling it up.
Beautiful wedge executed by Charm City. They got in the middle of that wall, pried it open, can opener without pulling a direction of play major. That was beautiful.
That was a nice NFL technique right there.
Oh, just that time, they just walled up, screened him to the outside. Half the track, open lane, another 5 points. In the meantime, it looks like Harmony Killabrews is back. Gets through, sneaks through. They didn't see her. That's her initial pass. And we have it. That is another 4 points.
And Charm City comes within 2 just like that. Minnesota 107, Charm City 105. Randy Pan, the audience here in Denver is going absolutely bananas right now. And also, Banana is going bananas.
I was telling you it was bananas. Well, that speaks to the the depth of the bench and the experience of Charm City. I knew that they was going to take them really far into this. And Joy Collision up at the jammer line.
Joy Collision getting roughed around in the middle a little bit on the inside, getting recycled to the back, looking for an inside line, and she skates right through. Lead jammer, Joy Collision for Charm City.
We're going to possibly see the first lead change of the game. We have a blocker advantage in favor of Charm City. A nice offensive block gets her pass. Joy Collision takes a fall, calls off the jam. What is it? 4 points,
4 more
ladies and
points.
gentlemen. Lead change. Charm City, who is down over 50 points in the first period, have now taken a 2-point lead over Minnesota.
The number 3 in the East coming back from a huge point deficit at the half, Randy Pan. Right now, Minnesota, the number 2 seed in the North Central. Here's a replay of that last jam. Watch Joy getting knocked to the ground and calling it. Great play by Joy. She didn't know where her opposing jammer was, but she called it anyway. It looks like Secondhand Smoke getting her 4th minor, intentional 4th, Randy Pan.
Medusa navigates to the inside there. I Am Pain pushes through, breaks into the wall. She's been doing a great job of that. The second period, lead jammer. But just flying through, Medusa gets front. So she's like slowing it down. I think she wants her to call it off. But I Am Pain gets in front of her.
And calls it as she's skating through on the inside, picking up 3 points to Minnesota's 2. That's Charm City 3 points, Minnesota 2. I have a feeling the rest of the bout is going to be exactly like this.
It looks like doctors are testing Charm's blood for spinach content.
Are you sure it's not? Are you sure it's not potassium with banana?
They fight. Hey, it's both. Both are superfoods. They fight to the finish. Team timeout called by Charm City. I'm guessing it's an official review because this is no time for them to stop their momentum, Double H.
That's right. You need absolutely every point you can when it's a 3-point game right now. Minnesota 109, Charm City taking the lead 112. This is a phenomenal. This is the Charm City that I expected to see when I sat down here with you today. They are a physical team. They are a hard-working team. They're the number 3 seed in the East against Minnesota. I expected to see Minnesota be a very fast team. I expected them to execute this wild strategy as well as they have. Either one of these teams has exactly what it takes to win this game, Randy Pan. Either one of them. Minnesota Charm could come up on top right now. Cruella DeVille getting back to the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line up against Harmony Killebrews from Minnesota.
So we do have an official review. Charm City reviewing whether that last pass should have been 3 points or a full 5 points. We'll get back to you when we have the word from the referees.
And if you're enjoying this bout as much as I am, Randy Pan, you know what you're going to want to do?
What?
You're going to want to own it on DVD.
Yes, I am.
Make sure you go to WFTDA.com to the WIFTA store. And the DVDs are $15 a piece, and they are going to be $150 for the entire championship set.
I think we can already tell you that this is so worth it. We got some beautiful instant replay here of that Charm City wall dividing the line and opening up the lane for I Am Pain. And I think that's key here. I think it's Charm City's offense is the key. They're not letting the wall form, and when they do, they open it up. They're breaking it open. They're not doing their own defensive game, which is hurting them in the first period. It's all about opening up the wall for Minnesota and then letting their skaters do what they need to. Hey, there's a Banana who's in suddenly a really good mood.
All right,
Checking
Randy.
in with the rest of the audience, making sure they're in a good mood too.
That's right. It looks as though the points are going to stand. Charm City did get 1 point and 2 box points, so that is going to be 3 points for Charm City. The points stand right now, Randy Pan.
There you have it, Crow. And you have only 1 review per period, so that's it for Charm City here. We're going to get up to the line. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the kind of excitement that the championships are going to bring you. The 12 of the best teams in the game right here, taking it down. Close bout already. Now, we have just 14 minutes left. Do you think Minnesota are going to be able to overcome this momentum?
If they can get their head back in the game, they absolutely can, Randy Pan. Right now, I think it's a mental game for Minnesota. They're absolutely capable of doing this. Charm City, they're vets. A lot of these skaters know this mental game.
I want to point out that it looks like Minnesota was trying to do a psych out or start. Didn't work. Cruella DeVille just wrestles through lead jammer. It looks like Harmony Killebrews caught behind the 2-wall. We have a fourth minor being picked up by Thoroughblood, who's had a lot of trips to the box, but that did open up Harmony Killebrews to get through.
That was Dolly Rocket helping her out. Great work by Charm to pick up 4 points for Charm City, Randy Pan, and Cruella DeVille now throwing up 50 points on the board for her squad.
Incredible. 13:30 left in this bout. Now, penalties hurting both teams, but with these even odds, Charm City's come out the victor.
And you know what we want to do? We want to hear from you. We would like to hear from you. If you're on Twitter, send us your comments with the hashtag #TalkToWFTDA, and we're going to check your tweets out.
And looks like Lexicutor up against the 2-wall. There was a little fall up there. I Am Pain trying to navigate. Lexicutor gets through first. Lead jammer and Minnesota need her right now. I Am Pain hot on her track there, just 5 feet away. And it looks like reinforcements are coming in. We have a 3-2 pack advantage for Minnesota. Minnesota just calls it. Just to give you a slight update on penalties, Rosie the Rioter is on her 6th trip to the box. One more, she's out. Thoroughblade on her 6th trip, one more, and she's out. And Jukebox is sitting on 5.
Jukebox just got her 6th trip to the box, so that could be a huge game changer for Minnesota. Meanwhile, Medusa up at the jammer line, the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line against Joy Collision. And you got to believe this Charm City lead right now is due in heavy part to Joy Collision, 116 to 109 for Minnesota.
And they're off. Joy Collision trying to navigate the inside. Opens up a wall. Gets out front. Joy Collision lead jammer now. They're only up by 7 points, but you feel the momentum with Charm City right now. Medusa caught up behind Just Carol. And looks like that is Dolly Rocket picked up a major, I believe, elbow.
That's a low block.
Low
that was
block,
a major low block for Dolly Rocket. This is not what Charm wants right now if they want to remain up on top. And that looks like a 5-point pass for Joy Collision. She looks pretty happy about that, Randy Pan.
As she should be. It looks like she picked up the jammer lap point before Medusa got out. Went ahead and called it.
And just like that, the momentum of this game is entirely changed. Charm City 121, Minnesota 109. That is Cruella DeVille coming to the jammer line, the Dr. Hauschka's jammer line for Charm up against Harmony Killebrews for Minnesota.
We got a wonderful message from Twitter about how it should just be called the Dr. Hauschka Everybody line because everybody's lining on it every single time.
That's absolutely true, and it's a strategy that has worked reasonably well for Minnesota, not so well during this second half. What they haven't been expecting is for Charm to be blowing some holes into their walls. I really got to believe right now, Randy Pan, this is a serious mental game component for Minnesota.
We have an opportunity for Minnesota right now. 3-2 pack advantage. Harmony Killebrews up at the line. Cruella DeVille already trying to navigate it, but inside lane opens up for Harmony Killebrews. Last line defense falls in front of her. That is Harmony Killebrews' lead jammer. And the wall is reformed and is getting opened up here, Double H.
That's right. It looks like Cruella trying to get through on the inside, coming up behind one of Minnesota's blockers.
That is Naughty Kitty up front, holding her at bay and keeping her in the pack, giving Harmony Killebrews an opportunity for a grand slam as she approaches.
Great recycling work here by Minnesota. Cruella, meanwhile, looking for an inside line, can't find it, while Harmony makes it through the inside.
And Jukebox finally back in, going in. That was her 6th trip. Harmony Killebrews got her 5 points there. Calls it off. I think she could have pushed it a little bit, maybe take advantage of the 4-2 pack advantage. But they're going to start off in a good position here, Double H.
Yep, and Harmony Killebrews has only served 1 trip to the box, so she absolutely could have gotten away with a little bit more rough and tumble activity if she had wanted to, but I got to believe Minnesota wants to stay out of that box as much as Charm does. Right now, secondhand smoke on the jammer line coming up against I Am Pain for Charm City.
We have a huge pack advantage for Minnesota, so this is a good opportunity for them to take back. Secondhand smoke gets around to the inside, lead jammer instantly.
Right now, I Am Pain making it through her initial pass. She's going to put on the heat, I have no doubt.
Well, We have a full blocker regiment of Charm City now, so we can already see them trying to open up that wall, forcing second-hand smoke to call it off. She did get 1 point out of that, but only 1 to Charm City 0.
I Am Pain tried to take a sharp angle on the inside to try to pick up some points. She couldn't quite do it. She looks slightly disappointed. However, that's not going to stop Joy Collision for getting on that jammer line against Medusa. 2 titans for their teams right now, Randy Pan.
We have a 4. We have all 5. We have 5-on-5, just like the great magazine, the official magazine of WFTDA. We have 5-on-5 out there. And Charm City wanted to start this off. They want to take advantage of their presence.
Right away getting the no-pack call, taking a knee. Meanwhile, Cece trying to bump Medusa on the inside. Doesn't work. She gets that line. She is lead jammer for Minnesota.
It actually assisted Medusa to get through there. She takes it. We have 4th minor picked up for Joy Collision, Power Jam, Minnesota. But Charm City's entire blocker regiment dances around the outside. Medusa gets a 5-point scoring pass. We have a 1-point game, Double H.
And once again, we have a momentum changer in this game. Medusa's about to rip this pack wide open with the Power Jam, getting as many points as she possibly can, trying to put more distance between them and Charm.
Charm City, we have a 3-3 pack now. Is CC Bang Bang and Scarman Electra both went to the penalty box. Nice
Medusa.
defense from Charm City. Terrorizer forcing the outside. But there's an opening. We get 5 points there. And another lead change. Minnesota Roller Girls, 125. Charm City, 121.
Reckless Endangerment trying to hold down the back. Can't do it for Charm City. That's another 5 points for Medusa. Getting back in the game with their head and their skates, Randy Pan, with 40 seconds left on the clock.
Well, the beautiful thing is the divide and conquer. Inside, another pass. We have Joy Collision standing in the penalty box. She'll be back soon. She's still on her initial pass. She can really push this.
Medusa walked that inside line on 1 skate also, Randy Pan.
Great awareness from Medusa's part, not calling it off. She knew it was only her initial pass. She could get 1 more scoring pass. She does. 4 points, pushing it to 139, 121, 18-point lead for Minnesota with 7 minutes, 10 seconds left.
Talking about prolific, Medusa is posting 88 of Minnesota's 139 points of her own. Harmony Killebrews, 28 for Minnesota. Lexicutor 10 and Secondhand Smoke 13. Medusa showing up for work for Minnesota today. Meanwhile, Charm is taking a timeout. Charm posting 50 points from Cruella DeVille, 1 from CC Bang Bang, and 36 from I Am Pain, and 34 for Joy Collision, who really was responsible for helping to change the momentum in this game. And now it has changed back, Randy Pan, and I have to believe Minnesota had to get their heads back in the game.
Well, I think there was a couple of things working there for Minnesota in that last run. I think it was the Adam Wheels that was doing great for them, and the Rydell skates. I think that combination really had them give momentum to come back. So I got to give credit where credit is due.
And you know what? They are fresh faces.
They are.
And Dr. Hauschka is celebrating the fresh faces of the WFTDA. If I can say fresh faces, that would be helpful. Dr. Hauschka is celebrating the fresh faces of the WFTDA here today on the Jammer Line, the Dr. Hauschka's Jammer Line. I Am Pain and Harmony Killebrews, classic matchup for this bout, Randy Pan.
Well, we have a 4-2 pack advantage going into this for Minnesota, and that's where they've been capitalizing in the first period. Will we see a repeat, or will Charm City's defense be able to lock it down? So far, so good. Harmony Killebrews trying to get through around the outside, forced down. But I Am Pain has not been able to navigate that four wall yet. Harmony Killebrews does. Gets the lead jammer.
And this is a good momentum shift for Minnesota with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in this period. 139 to 121. Every point is going to count here. Both of these teams have to start skating really smart.
I Am Pain with a huge run to the outside, but it wasn't enough. They were able to catch her. Tumble and weave on the outside line there. I Am Pain finally gets through her initial pass, but right behind her is Harmony Killebrews on her scoring pass.
Looking for the pack. It's sort of reforming there around turn 2.
Oh, nice reconfiguration of Charm City's wall up front. I think they're going to probably force. Yeah, there you have it. They forced Harmony Killebrews to call it off. But they do have more points. It's 143, 121 for Minnesota in Aqua. and Army.
The pack definition confusion in that case definitely worked in Minnesota's favor. Meanwhile, back on that Dr. Hauschka's jammer line, Joy Collision for Charm City coming up against Secondhand Smoke for Minnesota.
We have, it looks like a 3-3 pack, even odds there. Joy Collision's going to need to pull it out on this one. She's already fighting through that wall, but around the outside, Secondhand Smoke navigates up to the last line of defense. Just Carroll just gets in the inside. Lead Jam, Secondhand Smoke. This could be it right here, Double H. This Jam could decide the whole thing.
And that looks like a back block major, sending Joy Collision to the penalty box. There is a lot of booing from the Charm City side of the audience, Randy Pan.
Nice controlled defense set up here by Charm City. They know that they got to be careful there. They don't want to give her any more points than she can get with this much time left. Secondhand Smoke just trying to get through. We have a pack advantage for Charm City. Nice slow control that's happening here, Double H.
That's right, and we have quite a few skaters who are dangerously close to their 7th trip to the box. One of those is Dolly Rocket. She's out there right now trying to hold down defense along with her teammates, Jess Carroll, Reckless Endangerment.
This is a beautifully, beautifully orchestrated defense. Holly Go Hardly picking up, it looks like a back block major going in.
That's right.
Naughty Kitty comes in for a nice offensive block, opening up an opportunity for Secondhand Smoke, who's been stuck for over a minute here. Just Carroll got her, caught her, knocked her down. We needed to see this Charm City defense a long time ago, and there is Joy Collision back up into the fray. Hops through. That's her initial pass. She's going to force a call off, but Secondhand Smoke picked up 5 points, Double H.
Yep, that was 5 points for Minnesota. And right now we are looking at just under 4 minutes on the clock with the score Minnesota 148, Charm City 121. Completely doable, as we've seen so far. What Charm City needs to do right now to put points on the board is to keep breaking up those walls the way that they had been in the first part of the second period.
Oh, it looked like they were going for a psych out there. I like that. You start on a knee. You're like, oh, they're going to start on a knee. We're good. Medusa already trying to fight through that front wall. Gets hit out to the outside there.
Meanwhile, Corella DeVille trying to get in on the inside. Doesn't work out for her. Medusa is lead jammer for Minnesota. This is the momentum Minnesota's going to want to continue into the last few jams of this bout, Randy Pan.
Now, in my opinion, Medusa can just skate right now. Time is on her side. Beautiful hit from Diamond Ruff, forcing Corella DeVille to the outside, keeping her in the pack. 5-point scoring pass for Medusa.
Medusa smiling at that pass, very excited to look up at the scoreboard here in Denver to see that she is ahead. Right now, it looks like Holly Go Hardly back on the track.
Medusa got hit inside, called it off. I don't know about that, Double H. She took 2 points. Time so much on Minnesota's side with a 34-point lead. I feel like she could have matched points for another minute.
Absolutely.
Killed the clock, and that would have put them in a great position to finish off this bout.
Absolutely, especially since she has not been to the penalty box at all during this game and has posted 95 of her team's 155 points, Randy Pan.
Absolutely, but still, the advantage is still there. It's just over 2 minutes, 34-point lead. Joy Collision on the line there. And a tangle up right off the line. Wide open lane for, I believe, Harmony Killebrews.
Harmony Killebrews looking to size up what she's got.
We have a major forearm going to Joy Collision. Somewhere a jam ended.
Yes, and it sounded like there was a whistle called. I believe the team members thought that the jam was called, in fact, and it sounded like that was a major whistle, but we're going to take a look and see exactly what that meant. Meanwhile, we're going to start.
Go ahead, just get this party going here. It is a power jam. It is 4-2. It looks great for Minnesota right now. Minnesota, if you're a Minnesota fan, you should be pretty happy right now. Nice divide wall right there.
You have a full four wall. Minnesota so good at creating those walls and turning them into something completely different. People breaking off and reforming those walls in an instant. Great, great work by Minnesota.
Well, they're holding grudges right now in the back there, and it just leaves one last line of defense. Dolly Rocket there, 5 more points.
And we've got a minute 22 on the jam clock, just 45 on the period clock. This is what she's going to do. She's going to take it all the way to the bank. Right now, I have to believe Harmony Killebrews isn't going to want to do anything to mess with this clock.
You can tell by her skating. You can't see it on the screen, but she is just cruising right now. Lovely pirouettes. I think this is
Burning clock.
Yeah, there you see it right there. Lead jammer. She's like, I got this. You see 20 seconds left on the clock. Joy Collision gets through, and a misconduct. That is her 7th trip to the box. She can't come back on. 10 seconds left. Harmony Killebrews, you're looking at her right now. You see the pack. The pack is just crazy. No reason for her to go in there. 3, 2, 1. We'll see if she's calling it off. There she is. There it is. That is it. That is the game, ladies and gentlemen.
A battle to the finish between number 2 North Central Minnesota Roller Girls and number 3 East Charm City Roller Girls. Charm City is done for the weekend. Randy Pan, Minnesota will advance.
So they will go up against Texas tomorrow. Wow. At 9:30. Texas tomorrow at 9:30. Amazing, amazing bout by Minnesota. We were talking about the whole time, staying on the track, amazing defensive four wall there, worked out great for Minnesota.
So both of the things that we talked about in the beginning of this game, Charm City's penalties, Minnesota's pack works, were huge, huge factors in this game, and it was like a seesaw between the two, Randy Pan.
Absolutely. Now, Charm City had a beautiful, amazing run. They had a momentum shift. They got to their skaters out there. They were opening up the wall, but Minnesota were able to bring it back. They went back to what they was working for them at the beginning, and it did great. You can see Charm City are about to take a little lap here.
So we want to remind you a little bit of the history of this, that Charm City won last year's bout against Minnesota in the first round, 249 to 118. Right now, we are going to thank some of our amazing sponsors. Please stick around for Game 2 coming up next.
I am Chip Queso, and I am joined by Harmony Killebrews from the victorious Minnesota Roller Girls in the first bout of the day, 160 to 121. Now, you guys locked in early, and you held on for a long time, but somewhere in the late part of that second period, Charm came back. What was the difference to finish out with a victory?
They definitely came back, and it was a little nerve-wracking for us. I think that, we got in some penalty trouble. We had blockers in the box, a few jammer penalties, and that really hurt us. So the biggest thing that I think helped us was knowing that regardless of that dip in the score, we could keep our control and get our blockers back out there and do what we needed to do. And
Great.
That's what we did.
Great. And, of course, what a difference a year makes. Last year, Charm defeated Minnesota 249 to 118, but you were playing with Ole. It does take a team. What's the difference with this year's team getting you another step further?
This year, we're just focused on the prize. We all want this so bad, and we put in, just like every other team here, we put in the work, we put in the hours, the skating time, but we've really focused on the strategy and the teamwork to stay together and knowing that we're a team, we do this together, and having the confidence in the ability to do whatever we want to do. Awesome.
And, of course, no rest for the wicked. You've cheered, you've high-fived, but now you've got to wake up and you've got to get ready to take on the Texecutioners.
Yep.
It's one bout at a time, but going into it, you got to let it go and you got to go into the next. What are your thoughts there?
Well, it'll be an interesting bout. We've never played Texas before, officially. So it'll be a fun bout. We've got our work cut out for us, and it's going to be an early morning, but we're just going to stick with our gameplay, stay together, keep our teamwork, and stay confident.
Awesome. Great. Well, once again, Harmony Killebrews moving on to play Texas tomorrow morning. We are here at the Continental Divide, WFTDA.com. See you around.